The following program is rated PG and may contain mature subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised.
The Super Channel Heart and Home After Show with special guests Kevin McGarry, Amanda Wong, Viv Leacock, Kevin Smith, and now the host of the Super Channel Heart and Home After Show, Elliott Wallach.
Hi, thanks for tuning in to episode 12 of the Super Channel Heart and Home After Show. Oh my goodness, what a cliffhanger. Are they trying to kill us? Thank goodness there's a season 11. It cannot come quick enough. But first, we've got to wrap up the rest of season 10. And we've got 4 phenomenal guests to help us do that, beginning with the ever-amusing Kevin McGarry. Let's take a look.
Welcome back.
Here we are, 12.
Episode 12. I don't have to ask you the question if you're going to come back, because this is it.
I was forced to.
You're off the hook.
Yeah, you talked to my lawyer, and I legally had to show up. But here I am, 12. Let's talk about it. We did it. We made it.
We made it.
All those who thought we were going to do it, here we are. Here we are, 12. Feels good.
So let's talk specifically about this episode. Leading into episode 12, episode 11, Nathan has a confrontation with Elizabeth in the schoolhouse, right?
Yes.
If I remember correctly.
Yeah. He is the only one that tests her in making a decision to leave Hope Valley. I think he's the one that knows in her heart that that's her home. And it doesn't go over well. It plants a seed in her head, I think, and you know, we all know what happens after that.
Which is not unusual when you're faced with a hard decision and when someone comes to you about it. It's normal to be resistant at first.
You want that one friend that's just like, that knows you and asks you honestly, you know, like, what are you doing? Is this what you want? Is this really what you want?
Would you say your relationship is complicated?
Like as Kevin? That's really personal. No, as Nathan and Elizabeth's relationship.
Yes, not
it's,
you and Aaron.
It's complicated. It's always been complicated. They are connected, but at the same time, they're like a puzzle piece. You gotta jam together.
It's like kind of like a rope. Like you guys are.
Yes, but for some reason, like they are still connected. You know, there's still a connection between the two of those characters, and they find solace in each other, even though it's hard. And I think the fact that they just know each other so well, and they're able to call each other out on like the truth of who they each are, it leads to, you know, hurt feelings sometimes, or it leads to things said, and that's happened since they met, and it just happened in 11, and we're kind of seeing it happen in 12 too.
Yeah. So he's avoiding her in episode 12. We have a scene where they finally do run into each other by chance.
Yeah, at the old voting booth.
Yeah.
As he gives his support for Lucas.
Yes.
Bouchard, number 1.
Yeah, because they become good friends.
He wants him to win.
Of course.
But yeah, let's just want
he
to put that out
has to
there.
win.
Yeah, he was voting for Lucas, in case anybody's like, oh, I saw the ballot. He was voting for Lucas. But we've got a clip, right?
We do, yeah.
Okay.
Should we take a look at it?
Yes, let's take a look at the clip.
Let's
watch the clip.
I'm sorry that I overstepped. You know, I had no right to question you like that.
You were just trying to help. And it may have been hard for me to hear, but I appreciate what you said.
Elizabeth. Good night.
Good night.
What I liked about the setup was it felt a little bit like a confessional.
Yeah, well, I think that was the idea. And I think at one point the idea was to kind of shoot it so we were both kind of in it as well. But that was the idea. It was a confessional.
I got it. I got it.
You got the idea? Yeah, that was the theme. I think it was that maybe with this curtain between the two of them, they could just like actually talk to each other, or at least say the truth.
He left so abruptly at the end.
Well, that's what I mean. I feel like there was more space in there.
Oh,
and there
okay.
But he did leave abruptly, didn't he? Yeah.
I felt like he said Elizabeth, and so I thought, okay, here it comes.
Yeah, and
like, what's he have to say? Well, what was there more to say?
I think there's more to say.
Okay.
I think we got to wait until season 11 before we hear it.
Do you collaborate? Do you and Aaron collaborate? So when you get a scene, you get the script, do
Oh,
you
yeah,
go
we'll talk
over it
about
together?
it. Yeah, we'll talk about it. And we both care. Erin cares the most of anybody. Like, she really wants the show to be the best it can be. So that's why it's always great doing scenes with her, because, you know, she always tries to push to be, to make it the best that it can possibly be.
Do you feel like she challenges you as an actor?
Oh,
Does
yeah.
she raise
Erin's
your
a
game?
great actor, yeah. And yeah, she's very present and very there. Absolutely raises my game, yeah.
Yeah. There's a scene towards the end of episode 12, or I guess right at the end of episode 12. And I was wondering, so this is the scene where Nathan's riding in on the horse, Aaron's
Yes.
sitting on the log. Now,
Yes.
correct me if I'm wrong, was that the same location when Nathan professed his feelings for?
That is, that good eye. Yes, it was. It was the exact same. And I think, again, due to time, we were supposed to get the same kind of ride down, I think, that originally happened during that scene as well.
Yeah.
So
Was
I
very
think that
familiar.
got condensed a little bit. But yes, it was supposed to basically go back to that moment in time when he said that. And here we are again, and he gets off the horse and he's about to say something again. And then
Bill.
Bill, just in the woods out of nowhere, great timing, comes in and gives us the news.
I mean, what a way to end the season, like cliffhanger.
Yeah. I mean, you can't end the show there.
No.
We got to find out what happened.
No.
Is he alive?
I know. I mean, I don't know, but that's what
You
I was.
do know?
No, I don't
Oh, okay.
know.
Yeah,
I said I
don't
know, but I mean, I know that, you know.
I know. Oh, I know that you know that I know.
This interview is so deep.
Yes, I know. But yeah, here we are. You know, what a cliffhanger. And then they ride off together, all three of them. And I guess we got to wait till next season to find out what happened or what's happening with everyone. Like, it's a lot of stuff's left up in the air.
Yeah. So now that we've finished all the episodes, how do you feel about the season overall?
I think it's, you know, roller coaster. You think it's going to go one way and all of a sudden it makes a hard right turn somewhere, as does life. You know, it's really set up for some pretty incredible stories in season 11.
And I really like that Lucas came in and did what he did for the town. It really was a life and death situation. If he did not run, that would have been it.
Yeah.
Right? That's
Yeah.
it.
And now, I mean, like,
show.
you know, look at the character of Lucas now has been propelled into like a much bigger stadium. So we'll see. And well, I mean, we'll see what happens with the Montague, the governor's right-hand man. He's still out there.
Right, that's right. We
know?
still have a bad guy out
So
there.
yeah, they're still out there, and we'll see what happens.
All right, we're looking forward to season 11.
Can't wait.
So
Can't
if we
wait.
do an after show for season 11,
You keep asking me every time
can I
I'm
count
here.
on you?
I don't know. I might be on vacation or something. Maybe I'll call in. Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe
All
I'll
right.
call in.
All right, put in your schedule.
Well, give me the date.
My people will call your
Okay,
people.
yeah. That sounds good. All right. Well, thanks for having me.
We're all wondering when the date of the after show will be, because then we'd know the date of the show. This is agony. But you know what? The cure for agony is, in Hope Valley at least, is going to be to go see Mei-Su the pharmacist, played by the lovely and amazing Amanda Wong. Tiffany is visiting with her right now.
You and Mike, seems like love might be on the horizon.
Yeah, who knows? He stood me up once, so May has not forgiven him for that. I know.
Yeah.
He's one of our most eligible bachelors.
That's true. Are there any others in town?
Nathan and Lucas?
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about those two. Besides the two. I was like, who else is there? That's true. I guess there are a couple.
Oh, and I did go on a date with another bachelor in town.
Well,
we went to the governor's ball.
Harry.
Yes, Harry and I.
What do you think about that? Because I don't know. Harry also robbed.
I know. He was.
I'm not sure he's a catch.
Yeah, I mean, he did beat Hickam to the asking out portion. Yeah.
Yes, was very sweet.
Yeah, he was very nice about it, and he was very chivalrous, and he was really, really a lovely date on the day.
And his thievery was motivated.
Yeah, he's trying to help his family.
Right. I'm so deep down.
This is what girls do when they're trying to justify.
Red flag. Red flag.
Yeah,
but is it
no,
really?
no. It's kind of yellow, if that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we sound crazy, but no, he's a nice guy in real life.
Yeah. Yeah. What's his name? Who is the actor that plays?
Brendan.
Brendan?
Yeah. Yeah.
okay.
He's a nice guy. Yeah. Very sweet. We spent a lot of time doing that governor's ball scene together. And yeah, very funny, lovely human being.
Well, I do have a clip of Mike getting up the courage to ask you out, or maybe he didn't really get the courage up. Maybe you encouraged him.
Yeah. Okay, let's see it.
Let's take a look.
I never see you in the cafe anymore.
Well, I could stop by tomorrow. I could even have lunch with you.
I would love to, but I have to go up to the hot springs to collect clay for our masks.
I'll come with you and help carry. You know, return the favor.
That'd be great. Meet you at the cafe at 3?
It's a date.
I'm just like blushing watching it.
It's so cute.
Yeah, it was sweet.
Both of your reactions were really cute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think I feel like maybe for the two of them it was like a long time coming. You know,
Yeah.
She's wanting him to ask her, and then it kind of seems like at every point something happens, and it's like a slight misconnection. But I'm happy that it seems like it's going in the right direction at this point.
And we see the bangs again.
Yes, the bangs.
They're kind of growing on me.
Yes, are they?
I think so.
But you said Nathan's mustache did not grow on you.
Well,
he
don't
loved
know.
them. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he really liked them.
Was that his idea?
I don't know if I'm allowed to divulge whose idea it was.
Okay.
But it might have been.
Yeah. It's like, I have an idea. Let's grow a mustache.
Yeah. Well, because he was saying that, at that time, Mounties did have mustaches.
Okay.
Yeah. And because that was the first time I actually met Kevin in season 9. And so I'd only seen him with the mustache.
That's why you think, maybe that's why you liked it.
I think so. And so when he shaved it off, so my dad had a mustache when I was growing up. And then one day he shaved it and I was like, who are you kind of thing. And it was kind of the same reaction with Kevin. I just couldn't stop looking at his upper lip and I was like, it just seems like there's a lot more space now. And I even said that to him and he's like, what do you mean? Not like a weird amount of space. I'm like, no, it's just different. Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes people will shave and then you'll go, something's different, but I'm not sure what it is.
Yeah. And he was like, did you prefer it with or without? And I was like, I think both, but I was like, but I kind of miss the mustache. She was like, me too. I was like, really?
Oh, well, maybe it'll make a comeback.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe if he has like a down storyline, then and he like grows his hair out, grows some facial hair.
Yeah, exactly.
The darker side of Nathan.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
So I have another clip to show you, and this is where the two, you and Mike, do actually connect.
Okay.
Michael, I
I'm
have
so
to say,
sorry. I didn't mean to stand
confused
you
about
up.
how you feel, but I
really
like
like
you.
Your voice is my favorite sound. Would you like to,
Yes.
Did you know that your voice is my favorite sound? He wrote that himself?
You know what? He told me that.
Yeah.
That's really sweet.
Yeah. He just was like, I have an idea for a line. I don't know if he told me ahead of time or if it just came up on the spot or one or the other. And I was like, yeah, you have to do it.
Yeah, and it's perfect because obviously that's what they've been doing and they've been
Absolutely.
Practicing their singing.
Yeah, and I think that even on an emotional, more intrinsic level, it's also like being seen and heard by somebody that you like.
Do you think they could go the distance?
Ooh, who knows, Yeah. There could be changes that happen in the off season. They could date and then break up. It could be like a Faith and Nathan situation where they tried a couple times, or a Nathan and May situation where it ended in the break. You don't know. And that's kind of how exciting and ever-changing this Hope Valley is.
Do you want the relationship to grow? I mean, is that something, do you like the idea of the two of them?
I love the idea of May being able to explore a relationship. I think that May is a lover and she's kind of had some less positive experiences so far. Whatever direction the writers go, I think it's going to be really nice to see a romantic relationship flourish for May.
Well, I look forward to seeing it. I'm looking forward to season 11.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that you took the time to sit down with us to talk about the season.
Thanks for having me.
Yep. Thanks for being here.
Next up is Viv Leacock, who plays Pastor Joseph Canfield so well. They both seem like the kind of people you'd like to live next to, but believe it or not, Martin Cummings used to live right next to Viv Leacock. Can you believe that? How cool would that be? Sign me up for that Airbnb. But Tiffany's on the set right now talking about that, the christening, and a lot more. Let's take a look.
So in this episode, the Coulters decide to pick some godparents, Elizabeth and Henry. What do you think about their choice of Henry as a godparent for Goldie?
Just like Lee was saying, were that, Henry has a ton of life experience, and he's also a man with some regrets that he's working on fixing. He's definitely a great choice because he's going to put his all into this.
How do you think Joseph has helped Henry in his sort of redemption story?
You can see that Henry is in pain. You can see it. Martin does the most amazing job of playing Henry when he's on screen. You can't look at anybody else. He's just looking at Martin. I think that Joseph sees that it's just this one hurdle that Henry has to get over, and then everything will start to be really clear to him. It'll start really snowballing.
And it's been building. You had a great scene, I think it was last season, in the jail. Do you know what I'm talking about with the Bible?
I know what you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah, what did you think about that scene when you read it in the script?
All of the pain that Henry's hanging on to. Again, when I refer to the time that this show takes place in, I'm talking about 100 years ago, your options to emote are limited in how you're supposed to do that. Just imagine the weight on this man who has no ability to actually process it and then say what he wants to say. He doesn't have it. He doesn't have the tools because those tools weren't passed on to him. There's people in town that are like, come on, they're urging him on. But faith, that's never been a part of Henry's. That's if it was, it's long gone at this point. And to get him back to it, that was man, it was so cool to watch that. It was so cool to watch that.
And this season, I feel like they captured that moment when he was standing with the horse. And I'm pretty sure it was you that walked in.
Yep.
Right? That moment was so poignant. You could see the struggle. And it's exactly what you're talking about. Because as soon as you walked in...
Yep. Got to straighten that up.
Yeah.
You can't look weak. That's not an option. And the thing I really love I specifically love about working with Martin is that it's always very loose. Like, it's not really set. Martin likes to kind of see how he feels right now. When we do it, like right now. Like what's happening in this moment right now. He doesn't decide that this is how it's gonna be. He's really kind of open to how it can go. And I love that too.
Does that lead to ad-libbing? Or does it more loose? Are you talking loose emotionally?
Yeah, loose emotionally. Like we are very aware of, just an inflection on a line might make him feel something different. It might make him shut down. It might do that. He's not necessarily going to just play it out to get to this end result because it's written that way. He's going to see what happens when I'm going there. And he genuinely wants to get there, not because we know it's going there, but because he got there. And so it's always, oh my God, it's always so fun.
When you do those scenes and it's a deep emotional scene, are you able to shut it off when it's over, or does that linger with you?
Yeah, I can shut it off when it's over. But while we're doing it, I'm definitely like, ooh, like we're both feeling it. Both feeling like, oh man, okay, that's heavy. But yeah, as soon as they say cut, again, it's, Martin was like my neighbor for 10 years. So
he was in real life?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so
that's cool. So you knew each other before the show?
Long time, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so, and we both are car people, so we always chat about cars, wiping our cars down outside and stuff.
That's funny, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What's your process? We talked to Chris, and he memorizes everything in a monotone till he knows it, and then he comes back and adds inflection. Do you have a process? Does it come easily to you?
For me, it is the logic. So logic first. The story logic for me has to line up with the character. It has to. It has to make sense that Joseph is the one doing and saying this. And it has to make sense that Minnie, as I know her, is the one saying and doing this. If those two things don't line up, then I have a logic problem with something. The words will not stick. Because my brain is like, nope, that doesn't make sense. And if it doesn't make sense, I will never hang on to it. It doesn't happen. So Kevin and I can ad-lib because we know exactly what's going on. can't ad-lib if you don't know the lines in terms of how they're supposed to go. You can't riff off of it if you don't know it. So comedically, and this is the battle I have sometimes in my own brain, because comedically, like my first love is stand-up comedy, so that's how I see everything. I'm always going for the joke. And Kevin is the same. He's always going for the joke. But then we have to think about things dramatically as well. And sometimes those two brains don't line up. Like comedically, how I might see something may not add up for something dramatically because it's making it too light. But then if I do things that it's so dramatic and there's no levity in there, it doesn't feel like it's me. It doesn't feel like a being that I am kind of portraying would do that.
Do you think that's because of that process that parts of your personality start to make it into the character?
Oh, yeah. Definitely. I do love the fact that parts of our actual personalities are dropped into this. I just think it's fun, too. Like, I don't know if I've seen a pastor like Joseph. And I'm happy to portray, you know, a man of faith in this way, where he can, you know, he can have some fun, he can crack some jokes. It doesn't mean that you're gonna be like, you know, just very serious all the time. Right. Nobody wants to be around that guy.
He's a real person,
he's a real
right?
Person.
He's dynamic.
Yeah.
Well, let's see Joseph in action then.
All right. Forgiveness is our path towards grace. When we ask for forgiveness, we find redemption. And when we accept forgiveness, we find peace. Marigold Elizabeth Coulter, I baptize you in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Goldie, we welcome you with open arms to this family of faith. Not bad.
Not bad.
That was nice.
I feel like when I watch that, I can feel it tugging at my heartstrings, and there's always a lesson in it. Right? I think the writers do a good job. Do you think the writers do a good job of communicating to the audience?
Yeah, they, you know, again, we don't like club them over the head with the messages, but yeah, they're there. And the thing that's great is like the messages are always going through a character. You know, it's not just like, not just throwing it out there to like the audience. It's through the characters. You see the character impacted, and then people pick it up from there. So like that was very specifically at the end. It was for Molly and for Henry. You know, there's the last couple things that Joseph was talking about.
How would you sum up the season overall?
Season of change. It's everybody trying to tell the best story that they can, and you know, this is the one show that I've been on that takes their fan base into consideration way more than any other show I've ever seen, ever. And it's because Hardee's, it's why we're here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everybody's working. Everybody wants the show to last. Ultimately, you want the show to continue.
It can. It can and should like continue. Like, there's no reason that it can't just keep going on and on and on. It's got everything in place.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a very well-oiled machine, like I say. So, let's keep going.
Exactly. Well, thank you for joining me. I loved all of your insights. So good.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll do it again next season.
Ready.
All right, thanks.
Good to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Last up and to close us out is the very shy and quiet Kevin Smith. Tiffany's working very hard to bring him out of his shell and give us some final insights. I might be understating some of that, all of that. As always, Kevin does not disappoint. Enjoy. Let's take a look.
Let's talk a little bit more about Henry's redemption story.
Okay.
This has been a big arc for him, I mean, really since season 1, because he was such a bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about this change in him?
It's a great story arc for the guy. Everybody loves redemption stories. He's responsible for some nefarious things in the past, and he has to swallow those and move forward. And one of the things that I think people in general have the hardest time with is forgiving themselves. just even small things. It is hard to do that sometimes. And I think that watching Henry struggle to forgive himself is appealing television. It's fun to watch. It's a good storyline. He's a good character for it. He's such a craggly old fart, and to see him kind of dragged out. He reminds me a lot of that guy. Remember in Home Alone, the old guy?
Yeah, across the street.
Across the street. Looks they're the same guy. I think that guy was a little bit younger than Martin, but the same general idea. Scary old man walking around in rubber boots and he's like that. In real life, I mean. Yeah, when he comes to set, he's a scraggly old guy with rubber boots.
Hair and makeup?
No, they don't touch him. He does no wardrobe, no hair and makeup. That's how he is at home. He just walks on set. It's in his deal. He just shows up and he says, "Arr," and then he leaves. And that's why he gets the big bucks.
Well, I can see that Lee has decided that he's changed.
Yes.
Let's take a look at a clip.
All right.
I'll be the first to acknowledge that Henry has had his troubles, but he is the wiser because of them.
Wisdom is something you want in a godfather.
Exactly.
On the other hand, he can be so cantankerous.
So cantankerous. But maybe with Goldie in his life, it'll inspire him to be less so.
Maybe he needs Goldie just as much as she needs him.
Yeah, maybe he does.
Were you surprised when you saw this storyline in the script?
Yes, I was. It's kind of inspiring to watch people be nice like that. I mean, not just they need a godfather and about them and about the child, but how that can be beneficial to Henry's character as well. Yeah, it's funny. You don't even think about that really until after you see it. Even though we said the lines and stuff, you see it and it's like, oh, it's really kind of a two-way street there.
Do you feel emotional when you watch it? I mean, does it kind of tug at your heartstrings?
No, more furious, like rage. No, it does. I mean, yeah, I like things, especially with kids. Anything kid-related pulls at my heartstrings. I'm a sucker. So I do like this storyline, and I do like that Lee proposed. It's out of the blue. Like, if anybody saw that coming, I would be really surprised. Henry, I don't think anybody saw that coming. Oh, except for the, they probably would have seen that coming with the baby and this babysitting stuff. What am I talking about?
I didn't see it coming. I think it was kind of...
You didn't see it coming?
See it.
Did you watch the other episode?
I did.
Oh, my God.
I did. Yeah, I mean, he was doing a lot more with the kids, with the community garden, and he had more jokes this season. Martin actually had some jokes. Henry did. Kind of dad jokes.
Dad jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
the
good.
best kind of jokes.
Yeah. So let's take a look at when Henry gets the news or when you ask him.
Okay.
Anyway, Elizabeth has agreed to be the godmother, but we still need to name a godfather. And Rosemary and I would like that to be you.
Me?
Yeah.
Lee, I don't know much about God, and I think if you spoke with my son, he'd tell you I know even less about being a father. I'm very honored that you would think of me, but surely you have a better choice.
Listen, Rosie and I wouldn't ask you to help raise our little girl if we didn't know in our hearts that you were the right man for the job. So please, just promise me you'll think about it, all right?
I surely will. I appreciate that. Thank you, Lee.
Thanks, Henry. Talk soon.
I like the dynamic between Henry and Lee. They bounce well off each other.
How do you think Henry felt in that moment?
Surprised. I mean, I think if you reflect on the story arc, it's still him trying to forgive himself, and then I don't know. It's this thing where you sometimes have to step outside of yourself and do something that you may not be ready for. Maybe he's a little unsure about whether or not he's ready to commit full on to this kind of a thing. You can't be half bad guy or even a quarter bad guy and accept that kind of a request. So I like the way it was played. I think he did a good job. Little segue story. When my first day on this set, I came in and it was a group scene, and Martin Cummins and I were in the scene. And I've told this story before, but I didn't really know Martin all that well. I went and we chatted a couple minutes, and I asked him, I'm like, I don't understand this show. What's happening? Why is everybody so nice? Like, what's going on? And he's like, shh, just roll with it. Don't ever quit this show. And I was like, well, I wasn't going to quit the show anyway, but why are you saying I shouldn't quit the show? And he's like, because it's going to go for a long time. I'm like, really? I don't even understand what's happening. How could it go for a long time? And he's like, the fans have really jumped on board with this show, so that it must be fulfilling an appetite of some kind. And it seems to be the case. So I know Pascal and I have confided to one another that as long as it goes, we would like to be involved. I know that in the very beginning, that with the network and with the producers here, there was ridiculous talk about trying to shoot for 20 seasons. That's how confident they were. Not confident, that's how optimistic they were. And they threw it out there as a joke. How ridiculous a concept. Yet here we are in season 10 and shooting season 11. I think what I didn't get, and what I asked Martin about all those years ago and figured out slowly over time, is that people want to see a community like this. They want to see people coming together instead of being driven apart all the time. This little town is a hope. It's Hope Valley. People look at it and they're like, man, wouldn't it be nice if my neighbors would pull together like that when things went badly, and wouldn't it be nice if you knew everybody's name and you were involved in everybody's story, and it's just had that kind of a vibe. And I think that the reason why we've stuck it out all these years isn't because of us or anybody here. It's because the fans want some kind of a nice familial place to go.
Well, I hope you get 20. I hope we get 30.
Right now, I'll just take one more.
Yeah.
I'll take one at a time. You never know where it'll go. And but I certainly do too. I know Pascal and I know Aaron. I've talked to a lot of the cast about it, actually, pretty much all of them now. I know that this cast likes working together and likes being together. We all hang out socially. Like almost all of us are quite social with one another, and as well as the crew. The Hardys, which is the fan base for this show, are the only reason we've continued to go. We're very fortunate that we found them, or that they found us. So it's kind of like the reflection of what the town is supposed to be. Maybe part of why we're still here shooting is because behind the cameras, we all get along so well, so it's easier to put it on camera.
Yeah.
Now let's make a Jack joke. Jack is so old.
How old is he?
By the time you show him this, there's no point.
Well, thank you for recapping the season with me.
You're welcome.
Let's do it again next year.
Yep.
That's it.
That's it. That's all I got.
We're done.
And that concludes episode 12 of the Super Channel Heart and Home After Show. I want to personally thank Don McDonald and all the tremendous people we worked with at Super Channel. This has been a lot of fun. Thanks to the actors, the people behind the scenes that make this possible. And we'll hope to see you next year for a new season of the Super Channel Heart and Home After Show.